Go. Show. All right, you guys, we are live. We are excited to be here. Thank you for joining us for yet another episode of Prepper Talk Radio. I am Scott, and we have Paris and Shane in the house, broadcasting live to the U of Tubes and our favorite place, our own private Facebook group. And also on another device, we are live to TikTok with 84 viewers currently in there. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the weekly live session. Tonight's topic is brought to you by, man, I almost pulled a K-Talk commercial out of my head. Wow, that was a flashback. In our prior episode, we were talking K-Talk, and I channeled Alex Jones for a little bit. But here's the deal. Here's the deal, guys. We're brought to you by Jase Medical. You can get $10 off their Jase case. It's one of the best kits for antibiotics, getting your stuff together. Go check them out, Jase, Jase medical.com, and the readysummit.com. Use code PrepperTalk. It's going to get you 10% off. The annual pass is the best deal. It's normally $200. Right now it's $97, and take basically $10 off that, and you're in for a year for next to nothing. So without further ado, let's get into home security.
Home security.
I know, right?
It's so exciting.
Let me build a wall around my house to protect us.
You know, it actually is. This is a hot topic for me. You know, our last show was about first aid, and that is a hot topic for me too. But man, home security it's important. I don't know how to make it exciting, but it's important.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, and what this is all about, what we do every week, what we talk about is all about emergency preparedness. It's not the politics, it's the passion of being prepared and helping other people be better prepared for when disasters hit you, when life's ups and downs wreak havoc in your own personal.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm nodding my head. Yes.
So, and Nowhere Ranch is actually telling us he prefers. Man, my wording is gone. He prefers a moat as opposed to a wall, and I think that's actually fantastic.
Oh, that is kind of cool.
And a wall, so you can shoot from the wall down to the moat, right?
Nice. Now you're really going for it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
And some distance, right? Just like Fort Knox. Distance is their safety blanket, right? Their security blanket is that wide open field. Now, if you had the wide open field, then a moat, then a wall, there you go. I don't think it gets much better than that.
Well, if you've got the zombie apocalypse, the question is, can they swim?
Can zombies swim?
Can zombies swim? Can bad guys swim? Bad guys can swim, but can zombies swim?
They can at least float, I assume, right? I don't know. Maybe they can't float.
With sharks. I guess they wouldn't survive here in Utah. A saltwater moat with sharks. At least that would get people thinking, you know, maybe that's a bad idea. Kind of like on Gru. Like he's got a shark in his moat.
Piranha.
Maybe a wall. And then the top of the wall could be electrified. And then if they make it that far, then I need like some kind of like zombie apocalypse. Not dogs. I don't want dogs.
Well, see, that's where the hot tar comes in.
I'm talking like geese. Do you know how territorial and scary a goose is?
Great alarm. They're great alarm.
And nobody knows what to do.
Had geese. She had these big old geese, and she never had a problem. She lived out in the country. She never had a problem with anyone coming on the property that wasn't supposed to be there. Like salesmen back in the day, they'd go door to door, and they'd drive back out in the country. They'd drive door to door. And I remember hearing stories of like the salesman on top of his car screaming, somebody help, get this goose away from me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm like, let's get the security perimeter up and let's get some geese and you're good. Like you'll know someone's coming. Does loud honks, like whatever. I can't even do it, but it's like that.
I'm not even going to try and do it. Yeah.
And they flap and they chase and they're awesome. Like they're awesome. Like,
and obviously we're talking about some passive security measures here, right? These are things you put in place and then you don't really have to, maintain them or they kind of take care of themselves, right?
Right.
And for me, that's the preferred way. You know, I can tell you all about what I've done around my house. But I think when most people think about home security, they think of a system, a home security system, right? Cameras, alarms, motion sensors, all that kind of stuff, right? And I think there's definitely something to be said for having a home security system that is monitored by a service, right? You pay your monthly fee. I'm not a big fan of that kind of stuff, paying monthly fees for anything, but I do have a Ring doorbell, right? And I really like that thing.
And you pay a monthly fee, but it's annualized.
Yeah.
It's 190 a year, 170.
No, we pay like $30 a year.
Really?
For the Ring. Yeah. And basically that's just for recording, right? For a few extra features and to record with the activity on the front there.
I think I'm getting screwed because I think I'm paying 170 a year.
Well, maybe you're getting more features or what, but I'm pretty sure we're only 30 or 40 bucks.
Do you have just one camera?
Yeah, we just have one camera on the front.
We have three. That's probably why.
Yeah.
Triple bill us just because we've got three cameras.
Well, and I was thinking about putting a camera on the back of the house, but then I get worried about hacking and such too. But there's definitely something to be said for that. But I'm a low tech guy. You guys know that I like the passive stuff. So I think the main reason I think this is a great topic for right now is because of the inflation, because of things that are happening in the world, and crime is increasing. And so I think this is a really opportune time to talk about this and to step up for those who aren't as prepared as you'd like to be on the home security side. Let's talk about some things we can do: passive, inexpensive, and the expensive stuff too, maybe.
Well, I remember I didn't like monthly stuff either. These alarm guys would come to my house, and I'm like, "Really, bro? Like, what? And what do I want?" Yeah, they sell the system for I just didn't appreciate the sales tactics that they would use. I'm a salesman. I train salespeople, and the way they would come at me and the way they would train me, I was like, it just doesn't feel right. Anyways,
might as well sell me some pest control while you're at it.
I totally believe that we need to have that kind of stuff, and there's a place for it. And if you want that, do it. The one thing that I really did, and I don't know if anybody's heard of these cameras, but there's several different cameras that you can buy on Amazon. One of them that I got was called the Wyze camera, WYZE. And it was a camera you just bought, you plug it in. They have a wireless one that has a battery, and you tap it into your Wi-Fi. You just look, and there's an app, and you can record. It records 12 seconds whenever there's a movement back, I think a little bit front and a little bit behind it. And there's no monthly fee. You just have to keep you buy the cameras, and you can place them anywhere you want in your house. And with so much, here's the thing is, I don't know if it's true or not. If it's on TV, it's got to be true, right? But you see all these guys that are the crime shows or whatnot and lawyer shows. They're like, well, did you get a picture? Did you get a camera? Can you prove it with video? If you can't, then their case, you get thrown out. And so it's important to have some videos, and there's different ways to do it. You can get one of those fancy alarm systems, and you can put it all in, you get it all installed, and you're good to go. But I also think it's important to have stuff on the outside. And there's other things that you can do of standalone systems that are just going to record what they see and emotions they see. And I remember I'd get an app notification on my app, hey, such and such was happening, so and so was happening on camera, living room camera. And so I knew if there was movement, I was getting a notification on my phone there was movement. It was neat when we were away. I could log in. I could look at as long as I had Wi-Fi, I could see my house. I could look at my front door. I could look at my back door. I could look at my living room. I had one in my kitchen. I did it a little bit too to keep the kids in line, because I'd tell them, look, I know when you're coming into the house and when you're leaving the house, because I'd keep the back door and front door, monitored. But those Wyze cameras they're super cheap. They're $20-$30, and you can buy as many as you want and plug them in. So that was something that I did.
Cool.
So they're like walking in at like 3 a.m, and you come popping out at the next morning. Hey, I watched the video that says 3 a.m. Your curfew's at 12.
Yeah.
Give me your car keys. You're done.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It works.
That's what I've got to look forward to in 10 more years. 12 more years. Shoot. It's funny because Mimi, Preserve Food with Mimi, she's saying she's got 7 cameras, 2 systems, and pays nothing. She always uses free feature systems. Is that kind of how yours is? Paris is Wyze.
Yeah, it was free? Well, you can pay to have more stuff if you want. Like you can pay to have like more advanced features, but literally you just buy the camera and you put it wherever you want. And there's an indoor and an outdoor version, and the outdoor version is wireless and the indoor version is wired. And you connect it to your Wi-Fi, and you just got to make sure the battery's charged. And you put a little 32 I think I put a 32 gig chip in there, and it will record, and it will keep it on the chip. And then you pay, if you want to pay extra, you can pay for the cloud, and then it will upload it to the cloud. But if you put the chip in there, then it records to the chip. The difference is the cloud will record like forever, and the chip only records what the capacity of the chip is.
And you have to clear it out and whatever.
Yeah,
kind of like a trail cam.
Yeah, kind of like a trail cam.
Cool.
One of our TikTokers has got Wise all over his house. Apparently, he loves it too.
Cool. I'm gonna have to check
one of my
out,
best friends from growing up. His name is Lee. I'm not going to tell you anything else because you could find him. But he's a tech guy, and he knows a lot of fun stuff. But yeah, Wise. This is the first time I'm hearing about Wise. I'm actually kind of excited about checking it out.
Yeah, not a sponsor. Not a sponsor, FYI.
Yeah, we are not affiliated.
Yeah, I mean it'd be nice, but maybe what we should do is the Amazon thing, right? No, absolutely. Yeah, no, not sponsored. But again, kind of some more for me, some more passive things that I've done on my house is, first you gotta either look like a hard target or just be completely blend into everyone else around you, right?
Good point.
A big fancy house may attract some people, think that you got some money, you got some valuables in your house, right? So, we've kept our house kind of unremodeled on the outside. Let me say that to not stand out like we have some money or something like that, right? But a few things we've done that are stealth, like on our basement windows, I put all window well covers, and they're all locking, so they have cables, so they lock down low. And if you need to escape from a basement window, it's a very quick release latch that the kids can unlatch and push the window well cover open, but you cannot get access to those basement windows.
Nice.
I felt that was important to my house, but looking at statistics, I think it's only 4% of all break-ins actually happen through basements, through basement windows and such. So it's pretty low percentage. And actually the highest percentage is through the front door, 34%.
Which is why a single deadbolt is never enough.
Right. There's a lot you can do for your front door and your back door to harden those, to strengthen them. First thing, and again, not to hog here, but this is a hot topic for me, something I've done to my house, all of my daughter's apartments, wherever they go. I go there and I check the screws in the hinges and in the door plates, so that usually they're just tiny little, 3/4 inch,
screws,
half-inch screws that are just cosmetic to keep the plates in place. They don't actually have long lag bolts that go into the 2x4s. So I change those out. I put 3-inch long lags in the hinges and in the door plate, the plates for the deadbolt, as well. The latch plates, so that if the door gets kicked, it's not going to immediately just fall in and open up. So that's the first thing I do is go and check those screws. Like I say, both on the hinge side as well as on the doorknob side.
That's a really good idea.
Additionally, I've added other additional locks to the doorknob side that we close at night. And they're kind of, I don't know what they're called, but they flip over. It's kind of like a bolt on a safe. So I have a couple of these, and it's also a nice sturdy metal door. A lot of these doors you get are wood core metal on the outside, and they're pretty weak. So look at the quality of your door, how well it's built. If it's solid wood, great, you're better off. But strengthening those entry doors are, for me, number one.
Well, that's one of the things I found. My wife likes to watch crime whodunit shows, not movies or like actual TV shows, but like kind of the documentary style stuff. And what's funny is so many times the doors are unlocked.
Yeah,
the windows are unlocked. Or the windows are unlocked and open and nobody's home, or somebody is home and it's loud and so they can't hear somebody coming into the house. So always making it loud for someone to get into your house. Our windows are all locked all the time. Our front door's always locked all the time. The back doors are always locked all the time. Like we lock, everything is locked. I went from growing up in a house where nothing's locked unless everybody's gone to it's more secure when you're there. My wife is all about securing your home like all the time, and so I've done the same thing. I've swapped out all the screws. We've enhanced all the locks. actually have a couple of old school methods for when SHTFs, the old the old barricade,
Yeah.
drop down lock. Like I've got the steel ready to go to screw in and lag bolt down and lock in and just put it on when things get really bad. But the other question is your garage door secure?
Yep.
A lot of people are breaking in through garage doors because people keep their garage door unlocked. And so all you have to do to disable the automated garage door is shove a hanger up, grab the hook, and unpin the hook. And then you can lift the garage door open, walk into the interior door, garage door, and that's unlocked. People just leave it unlocked. So make sure you're always locking that door.
Yeah, there's a release handle on the track. That it's a red handle. You can see it. You can pull it down and disengage the lifting mechanism. And I guess that's what you're referring to, Scott. Is then that door can just be lifted up with both hands.
Yep.
And what I've done on my house is, I think most doors have a provision for a manual lock on either or both sides of the door. Where at night, that's what we do. I go and close that lock, that additional bar that locks through the track. And no one can get through the garage door really by any means. They'd have to open it like a can opener to get into it.
Yeah, and we have a TikTok celebrity has actually joined our live. Safe Prep is here. Good to see you, brother.
Welcome.
He says he's at my front door. He's inside. It's all unlocked. That's awesome. Oh man, you guys, it's funny because like the things that provide the most security are some of the simplest things, and they are passive. Like one of the things that we learned about at the Be Prepared Expo just a few months ago was Bastion Defense has a window treatment that they do that actually slows down break-ins, enhances the window strength, and gives you an additional 10, 12 minutes for somebody to try to break through a window. Anything like that is going to add great value to your security plans. Again, we're not affiliated with them. We'd love to be. It would be nice to have an affiliate link over there. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Bastion Home Defense. But like having the tools, having systems to help improve your home security, not just now, but after an SHTF situation, right? I think one of the biggest things people worry about is, marauders or neighbors that have gone bad because they're starving. How do you protect yourself, and how do you make it look like you're not there anymore, or that it's not a safe place? Some people will put, they'll tag their own home. That's their plan, is they're going to tag their own home to make it look like it's already been marauded.
Spread the garbage out on your front lawn.
Right. I was watching a surveillance video of some store. I think it was a jewelry store. They had those glass counter, the glass displays that you could show your goods and services in there. And this dude walked in and he had a brick or something, and he slammed it and it didn't break. He slammed it again. It didn't break. He had to slam it like 4 or 5 times. And by the time that he just kept going, and the person had enough time to get out there and chase him off because they heard what was going on. I guess they were in the back and he snuck in. And so that's kind of what's going on with the Bastion Defense. What they do is they'll put this lining on the windows. So if the dude's pounding away at your window, because that's one of the biggest ways to break in, especially if you've got those windows next to your door. They break that window, reach around, unlock your handle, and they're in your house before you know it. And any window like that, especially if you got a sliding glass door, super easy access entry point, unless you've got some way to kind of give them that extra 30 seconds to a minute deterring time. I mean, if there's pounding a brick against your window and they got to do it 3 or 4 times, it's highly likely they're going to get discouraged and walk away.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's really the purpose. These window films are not impenetrable, right? It's meant to slow down a criminal, discourage them, so that you have time to get up out of bed in the middle of the night, put my glasses on. That's a problem for me. Got to find my glasses, grab a flashlight, grab a weapon. That takes a little bit of time for me, especially. So yeah, on my rear sliding glass door, I've got that security film on there that's going to slow them down significantly. It gives me time to grab that 12 gauge.
Right.
Nice. The Home Defense 12 gauge.
It's the slugs.
That's right.
Slugs matter.
Or the buckshot.
Buckshot.
Double-aught buck.
Yeah. It's funny because like a lot of people focus their time on talking about having the tactical defense And some people just aren't comfortable with that, and that's fine. Do you, like, get what makes the most sense for you and your family. If it weren't for the boat issue, I'd have lost, I wouldn't have lost all my pews and stuff like that. But that boating accident was the worst. Lost everything. So I've had to resort to screws, right? I've used screws and the deadbolts and everything else to make and the casings to make everything more secure. There was a video I watched. This was pretty awesome. It was in Afghanistan. They were trying to break into this guy's house, and they couldn't kick the door through. And they actually had one of the police battering ram arm thing that you just swing like a sledgehammer, and that was doing nothing. And the guy like moved the other guy out of the way, and he's like donkey kicking the door. The door's not moving. So then they went to the glass panel next to it, and they're doing the same thing. And they're smashing and smashing and smashing and smashing, can't get through it. And they're like, what the heck? And you see on the second floor, the guy like pokes his head out and looks down and just starts laughing. He's like, you're not getting in. And he doesn't poke his head out, but he pokes his head into the window. And it's all of his windows are mesh. Like you can't, like, it's glass with mesh. And so you're not getting through that. You can reinforce your entire house all you want. And then depending on the type of construction, you could create other problems if you over blockade your home in. If enemies decide to be enemies, they could burn your house down with you in it. Mm-hmm. So you need to have backup plans and security plans. So when we talk about home security, it's not just how to defend your home. It's also knowing when to leave, knowing when to get to another location, to a safer place. If it's no longer safe to stay somewhere, it's time to move. And if you can move before it becomes no longer safe, that's ideal. And already have that place identified and know primary, secondary, and tertiary routes to that place.
Yeah, and it's not a bad idea to build a safe room in your house as well. And that can be done very inexpensively and very expensively. There's a lot of ways you can go about that and making just a safe room. Having an exterior door on an interior room, because most interior doors are just flimsy, right? You can put your fist through it pretty easy, but you can definitely harden a room by adding plywood to it, by adding, like I say, a stronger door, and making that room much harder to get into. So there's a lot of simple things, and like my basement, I've made that whole basement almost impenetrable except for access through the stairs, which is a pinch point, right? And a lot easier to defend that way. So a lot of passive ways you can go about that. And, and that's the way I prefer, but that is an interesting concept, Scott, to say, certain times you got to leave. And I don't think we want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. Right. I don't want to hear.
None of us do.
Yeah.
But it's a reality. Like, and there's also the reality of, okay, what if there's a evacuation scenario where you have to leave the security of your home because of a fire or another natural disaster, something that's completely outside of your control? Do you have a way to get your family safely to the next location? That's part of security that people just don't talk about enough, I don't think, is security while you move. Understanding self-protection, understanding awareness, situational awareness, head on a swivel, those types of terms. People don't talk about it enough. And a lot of times that's where criminals find their opportunities. The people that have their head in their phone, they're sitting there looking at their cell phone while they're going places. And they're walking around looking at their cell phone while they're doing everything. Those are easy targets. So it's making sure you're not an easy target all the time, not just your home, but you in general in life.
There's a Jean-Claude Van Damme movie. I think it's called Hard Target, right? Just thought I'd throw that in there. He's those are some fun 80s movies. But anyway, absolutely being a hard target in that you're aware of your surroundings. And if someone's looking for an easy target, which most burglars are, most criminals are looking for that easy. But if you're aware and you can see your threats coming, then most likely that threat's going to turn away.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And if you have a safe in your house too for all your valuables, that's something that can be really important to have a safe. I think another thing that even more simple is just to, a new mom or a new dad will know how to make their home more safe just because they have to baby eyes their home. all the different, they can't have the knife drawer that easily accessible. They shouldn't have the chemicals, cleaning supply chemical cupboard, without a hinge or a latch, something. And that's true. If something starts to earthquake and your house starts to shake, do you have stuff that's up on the shelves that might fall down and bonk your head and you're out? Like, make sure that you've got stuff secured and it's not heavy things and sharp, heavy things in higher places. I think another really good idea is that run scenarios with your kids. Like if a burglar comes in the back door, do they know there's the front door? If they come in through the front door, do they know that they can go out the side window? I mean, do they know how to take the screen off so that they could get out? And those are some important things for a family to run scenarios and say, okay, if somebody comes in through this bedroom window, we all run to this door and we can get out safely. If they come through this door, we go to that door, and vice versa, et cetera, so that you have some scenarios. Because it's kind of funny. My daughter's window doesn't have a screen on it, but if she jumped out of it, she'd fall through the basement through a little window. And so we got to figure out ways to make sure that when they jump out of the window, they know to jump far enough. They don't, and practice those things, because having escape routes out of your home is also a part of home defense and being, knowing and understanding and your situational awareness.
Well, and it comes into play with, like, what if there's a house fire? It's not your home so much that you're defending as the people that are inside it. That's the value. You got to protect the people inside of it. And so just like with your daughter, you need a way for her to get out safely, so she's not falling into the window well and breaking a leg, right?
Yep.
So there's ladders you can get that just hang out and everybody can drop down. There's so many things you can do to better protect your family by protecting your home. One of my brother-in-law, he introduced me to the idea of, if there's someone in the house, he shoots out a window before anything else happens. And I was like, what? Why are you wasting ammunition? And he's like, it's a shotgun and it's loaded with birdshot and it's intended to make the big boom and lots of glass outside. It's not going to cause any problems in the house. It's to create noise for my neighbors to call 911, for my kids to know that there's someone in the house without me having to yell, everybody, there's someone in the house. I'm like, oh, that's actually brilliant. And he was doing that when the kids were small. They're all grown and moved out, but he's like, they're all trained that if they hear that noise, they drop and roll under their bed.
Wow.
And then Daddy, who is a ranger, goes and takes care of business the way that a ranger takes care of business.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
so yeah, that brings up a couple of thoughts. Is first of all that Joe Biden, fired 2 blasts outside your house. Right. So if you're doing that, you better know what you're doing, right? If you're blasting out your window, you got to know what's beyond your target, right? If you got a close neighbor right behind you, I don't know if I'd do that personally. Pick a window that's going to be appropriate to do that with, right?
And that house, he actually had a shed right outside
there.
That
there you go. So, but also, like you're saying, it's something I've done when the family's away, is learn how to clear my house, right? Clear my house as in slice the pie, check each room with my firearm of choice, which is my handgun, and cover clear the entire house, make sure it's safe. And I've woken up at times in the middle of the night when the kids are concerned, like, we heard something and we're scared. Dad, check the house, please. Like, okay, everybody go up upstairs into Mom's room and I'll check the house. And then even coming back after vacation, that's not a bad idea as well, to check it. But usually leave that for the professionals, right? Get out, get to a safe place, then call the professionals in. If you are a professional, great.
Leave it to someone who's practiced and trained. And that's the key, is like, we've got to practice and train. It's not just having the tool, it's knowing how to use the tool.
But if you live in Uvalde, you probably ought to just do it yourself, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because the cops down there don't.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's a good point, Shane. You bring up a good point, because a lot of times if somebody's scoping out your house, your neighborhood, they're gonna make note of when you're gone, when you're there. Matter of fact, when I lived back in California in Fresno, every so often, once a couple times a year, whatever, maybe once every couple of years, I'd get a knock on the door. Is so and so live here? Like, no, they never did. Like, it was, I think they were canvassing the neighborhood to see who's home and who's not home, see which houses are easy targets and which ones aren't.
Mhm.
And so, if you come home and something's not right, first of all, you have to be situationally aware enough to know that, wait a minute, I didn't leave my window ajar like that, or I didn't leave my door ajar. Or when you walk in, hey, I noticed some damage was done. Like I actually, on my front door, I noticed that somebody tried to hammer it, but couldn't get through because I noticed the damage that was done. I was like, wait a minute, nobody's hammered my front door like this. So I noticed some damage. If you don't notice those things, if you're not aware of those things, you're not going to say, wait a minute, maybe I need to step back from the house, call 911, get the police over here. And you might literally walk right into an ambush of some kind because those burglars, they don't know when you're coming home. And, they're going to, if they're still in your house, you might be in a situation you're not ready for. And
65% of break-ins happen during the day. So, at night, I walk around the house, make sure everything's locked, make sure all the doors are double locked, and the house is set for the night, right? It's kind of just the ritual for me. And then during the day, when you leave, kind of do the same thing, because that's, like you say, that's an opportune time for someone who's watching. You leave the house. Okay, I got X amount of time that I got the house for all to myself. The criminals are thinking.
And it's nice to also have irregular patterns, leaving the house at different times. Even if you have to be at work at a certain time at a certain place every day, like go different ways to work, leave at different times, go earlier, go later, like break it up so that they can't get used to a specific schedule for you.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things they teach in the escape and evade classes. We actually had some of those at PrepperCon back in the day. We also had Stan Pruitt from Urban Survivors teaching how to slice the pie, how to do room clearing. And he's actually going to be teaching that again at the Ready Summit. So kind of a plug there, thereadysummit.com. Guys, get your tickets, join the program, because there's going to be some amazing trainings on preparedness, on self-defense, on home security. But just like we're talking about here, it's like, this is all great information, but if you're doing nothing with it, what's the point?
Yeah.
If you're not swapping out the screws in your door locks and in your hinges to a 3-inch, what's the point? What's the point of having food storage? What's the point of, having pews in the house? What's the point of doing anything if you're not trying to protect first? Security is a high priority that a lot of people just aren't taking seriously.
That's what I would just challenge whoever's listening. If you're not sure about your front door, back door, just take a few minutes. Hopefully you've got a small powered drill and you can take those screws out, check them out, run down to your local Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, and grab some 3-inch, even just the 3-inch grabber screws, right? You can get some stronger screws, which I recommend, but even just some 3-inch, interior zinc screws will make a huge difference on strengthening your door.
And if you can do it, do 4. If you can do 4-inch, do 4-inch. Like, the thing is around your door, you're going to typically have 2 studs. So that's going to give you 3 inches of wood there. Plus, you've got to go through your door casing. Mm-hmm. Most door hardware only goes into the door casing, mm-hmm. which is flimsy at best and held in with brad nails. Mm-hmm. It's smaller nails. And so that's not that hard to break through. But as soon as you throw those screws in there, you have increased the security of that door probably 15 to 18 times its prior ability.
At least. Yeah.
At least. Wow. Right. Just over the casing to the 2x4s.
And you can look on YouTube and see man donkey kicks in the door. Someone who rings the doorbell, pretending he's a salesman, turns around, puts his back to the door, does the donkey kick, door flies right open. That's what will happen to your door if you don't have long screws. It'll just bust out the casing and open that easily. I mean, really opens that easily if you haven't done that. Because most likely your contractor who built your house did not do that. Unless you're a higher end home, unless you're a custom higher end home, most likely, that's done.
And even then they're cutting corners a ton on the higher end homes now. So double and triple check.
Double check. Yep.
That's a good idea.
One Leo, she's like, I always second guess myself if I did the things I needed to do. So I'm double checking and triple checking constantly. Like, it's so smart to double check those. Like, it's funny because I'll tease my wife because I just check the doors and she's like checking the doors and like, what? You don't trust me? She goes, I just have to do it for myself too. But then if she does it first, I double check it as well. It's like we both have to know for ourselves. And if you get into that habit, it's always easier to keep that habit of ensuring things and knowing and having the peace of mind, and that makes it easier to sleep.
Yeah. Here's another one. Utah Mike on YouTube. It says, always keep exterior doors locked, at least doors that face the street. I think that's a great tip too.
Yeah. And your garage door, your interior garage door, even though it's an interior door, it's exterior because it goes to one of the bigger vulnerable spots in your home, which is your garage doors. They're so easy to break through. When I lived in California, and we talked about this already, but when I lived in California, it hit the news. There was a group that was actually just going around and pulling the red handle off the door, rolling the garage door up. And some garage doors are really heavy, so that's hard to do. But there's 3 of them, and they'd roll it up. One would run to the door and see if the door's locked. If the door's locked, they'd run to the next house.
Wow.
And they were just going through, and they'd grab some stuff out of the garage and call it a win.
Yeah. And keep this in mind: is we've got our garage door openers in our vehicles, right? They break into the car, you got the garage door opener, open it up, you're in the house. So like you're saying, you can lock the garage door itself and then lock the door going from the garage into the house to slow them down. Yes, okay, if they take something from the garage, right, at least they didn't get into the house where the family is, right? So think about that.
Things can be replaced. Loved ones can't.
Yeah.
And that's maybe why we're doing all this.
Maybe a little different direction, but kind of in the same topic is my old neighbor. When I moved from California, I found out that my old neighbor had a hydraulic pump of some kind in his garage that he left unattended, and it heated up, and a propane tank next to it or something exploded, and it blew up his whole house, and half his house burned down. So part of home defense is making sure that your power tools are properly put away, that they're unplugged, that you're not blowing up your own house, or you're checking your water tanks, checking your water heaters, checking your outlets. I remember one time I was checking an outlet and there was a short, and I noticed that there was a little burn mark, and so I swapped it out. Thank goodness I noticed it before it got bad or something happened. So it's good to go through and kind of take a look and see what's going on, because you never know when something might have a short in it or something that might catch fire, and then you're ended up burning down your own house because you weren't prepared properly or you weren't paying attention to what's going on with your own house. And I think that's more common with power tools and big equipment like that you have in your garage than anything else. But
a lot of people forget about those because you get used to things. You just, I wrap up my electrical cord and hang it up over here. Well, how often do you check the electrical cord to see if there's any kinks in it that have actually caused some wear patterns, that have actually exposed wires? Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been on job sites years ago when I was doing construction where there were shock hazards everywhere because they're using all these old electrical cables that they've wrapped up and unwrapped so many times and drug across job sites that now there's exposed wires. And like, you're going to move it and it hasn't been unplugged yet. And you're like, oh, that's alive. That's alive. That's not fun. And that can burn down a house. That can severely injure a child. That can severely injure a person as well. I'm a little bigger, so I guess it didn't severely injure me, but it gave me something to remember the job site by.
Right. Forever.
There's certain houses in Provo I'll never forget.
And also these rechargeable devices, that lithium batteries, that could potentially catch on fire too, right? So especially the cheaper ones. Yeah.
Harbor Freight, thank you very much. Not affiliated, but just it always makes sense to double check your things. The number one thing in ownership of anything is maintenance. Make sure you're maintaining those things. Like, if you don't change the oil in your car, eventually the car is going to just die.
Yeah,
like that oil dissipates, that oil breaks down. Like, there's problems. Check and change the oil frequently. Check your tires. Check everything. Things break down. That's just how life is. You don't go too long without going to the doctor if you're having a problem and you can't walk anymore, right? Like, you're going to go in right away. Double check your stuff because you don't want to burn your house down. You don't want to hurt your child. You don't want to expose more problems than you need to. Going back to cables, cords, batteries, checking your water tank, right? There's so many little things that just double check them, and if you don't know how to do it, hire somebody to come out and do it and watch what they're doing so you can learn for the future.
Yeah, changing out your filter on your AC. If you don't do that regular enough, you could overheat your AC, and then before you know, that goes out. And it may not be something that will burn your house down, but shoot, who wants to live when you're in a house that's 100 and some odd degrees because you can't turn your AC on because you can't get the guy to come out till Monday and it's Saturday night. You know what I mean? Because you did swap out the thing and now you overheated the motor in the engine. By the way, speaking by experience, not.
We actually had when we bought this house, the furnace. Didn't know this. Had it checked. It looked okay, but we should have gone a little bit deeper into it. But the furnace had a secondary blower that hadn't been cleaned or serviced, and that burnt out and caused a fire. After we'd purchased the home, and it was something we were able to fix real quick. But it was like, oh, that could have been a problem. That could have been a big problem. So always have a professional check things that you have no idea about. Mm-hmm. Get it serviced and serviced, routinely, so that it's less things to worry about, less things to cause potential problems.
Yeah. So I guess the obvious question that pops in my mind is, how close is your nearest fire extinguisher? Right. I know we're a little bit off topic of security, but I mean, that's kind of a nice little security device as well. That can incapacitate somebody as well. Right.
Yeah.
Same thing with, bear spray. It's good to have. Mm-hmm. Wasp spray, great to have, because those little jerks are horrible to have around the house. And that's a security threat. Don't use that on people according to the label. I won't.
Right. Use it in a
wink,
manner
wink, hint, hint.
Yes.
Yeah. Kentucky Woodson saying, like wasting out your outside unit. Make sure you're checking on all this washing out your outside unit. I just did that just a couple days ago. Like, I was looking at it, I'm like, I didn't wash this spring. Let me hurry and wash this. Clean out the coils, because it's going to run better. It's going to last longer. It's also going to have less likelihood of catching fire. There's a unit down the street that actually caught fire the other day because it hadn't been cleaned out. That's the air. That's the condenser outside. So take care of the things you have. Wash them, clean them, keep them safe. Keep your sanitation levels up. Keep everything as good as you can. And if it's too much to take care of, downsize.
Yeah.
If it's too much to defend, downsize.
Yeah, there's another, I guess, quick topic. I know we're running long, but in part of your home security on the exterior is having bushes trimmed to where you can easily see. It's not a place for someone that can hide and maybe ambush you at an entry door, or easily hide and ambush you as you exit the house. So, keep those things in mind and have, keep the bushes trimmed up so there's no places to hide in the front of the property.
Well, on the other end of that, I at my old house in Fresno, haven't done it. That on my house here has some pretty nice shrubbery, but we had rose bushes in front of the windows. Mm-hmm. So you're not breaking into a window with a rose bush right there.
All the thorns, yeah.
With all those thorns. So that's another kind of a way to beautify your home. That's a dual purpose. That's a twofer. You get to have a beautiful house with nice roses, but then you also get to have a defense for, with the thorns of the rose bush. Nobody's breaking in that window.
And nobody's climbing out that window either.
Exactly. You get in trouble by, doing what they're supposed to. I want to talk a little bit about some less lethal or non-lethal. Everybody likes to have the pew-pew sticks and talk about that kind of stuff. But sometimes it's important to have, pepper spray, or it's important to have like a baton or something that you can use that's a little bit less lethal, a bludgeoning weapon. I technically have a crossbow. So, I may or may not have a crossbow. I've heard of people having crossbows. And so, I get nervous because if somebody at least in my last house, if somebody came through the front door and I had to come around the corner and I had to shoot them, my kid's room was just on the other side of that.
Yeah.
So if I missed and it went through the wall, I don't want to, I don't want to hit my kid. So that's why I kind of got some less lethal, or maybe an arrow, doesn't go through the wall as easily as a bullet does. So, but it still stops the guy. It still potentially can cause some harm. So I went with a couple of options just in case. Besides that, a crossbow or a bow is not as loud. So you can, if you got 2 or 3 people coming in, you take care of the one guy. The 2 other guys have no clue that their other guy just got taken out, because you were quiet enough.
Shane got me into really high, powerful flashlights, high lumen flashlights, and I destroyed my last webcam with this one because it's so bright. Those things, popping a kid in the face with one of these, not hitting them with one of these, bludgeoning them or anything. And I don't.
You could do that too, but
you could do that because this is heavyweight. But like hitting the eyes with this, or even has a strobe setting, like that's phenomenal to disorient someone that's trying to get in your house, or that's getting too close to you when you're walking. Having any kind of device to help protect you is fantastic. If you actually go back in our archive, Prepper Talk Radio. Oh, let's see. We had a few with Jeff Kirkham. Jeff's fantastic. It's episode 105, and also there was another one I thought we did. But 105 goes into tactical prepping, and he talks about a little bit of what we've just talked about, but just some smart things you can do. And I think we've even had a couple other guests. Man, I'll have to go back and.
I know I shared a story about what some dude came into my backyard. He was high as a kite.
Yep.
And he knocked on my back door, and I didn't have anything except a flashlight. And I have a 900 lumen flashlight, and I walked out the back door. I'm like, what is this guy doing here? My kids, like she was 4 or 5 at the time. Hey, Dad, who is it? And I'm like, get in the house. And I'm like scrambling to, and I had to close the door, and I'm standing there outside with my flashlight and this guy. And I'm like, I'm dead. Like, what did I just see? I saved my kid, but I'm dead. So anyways, I popped the light right in his eyes, totally disoriented him, stepped back several feet. I felt safer, pulled out my phone, called 911. I said, hey, you need to leave my property. And I escorted him out to the front, and he ended up getting arrested. But having that flashlight, that's a great point, Scott, is that flashlight. Yep. You pop somebody in the eyes all of a sudden with 900 lumens, that's a good.
Yeah, my current one, I'm kind of nuts for flashlights. My most recent tactical flashlight is 3100 lumens. So, yeah, so that'll do some retinal damage, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
3100 lumens. Yeah. 3,100 or 31,000?
3,100, yeah.
Okay. I thought you had one that was bigger than that at one time.
No, that's my biggest one. But yeah, I think you really only need even 200 lumens is adequate if they're close enough to disorient. But really, you need kind of upwards of 1,000 lumens at distance to disorient and call that a defensive tool.
This one's 2,100 lumens.
Nice.
I have a 4,000 lumen one. That's really huge and amazing. That actually burnt a hole in my jacket.
I accidentally push the button and turn it on.
I had it and I was shining on stuff, and a car drove by, and I was like, "Oh, let me douse that real quick." And I knew if I hit the button again, it'd go to strobe, and I didn't want to freak anybody out that's driving down the road. And so I hurried and put it against my jacket. And when I pulled away, I'd melted a hole in my jacket, and I was like, wow, that's really hot. And I reached down. I'm like, oh no.
The light's still on.
And I go to pull my jacket off my shirt, and it's like, it's adhered. It's one thing now.
Oh, dang.
But this also comes in handy if you have teenage girls and the boyfriend's hiding behind the bushes, according to Kentucky Woods. It's phenomenal. Like this gives you a chance to see who's out there before you unalive somebody.
Yeah.
Right. It's smart, and you don't want to unalive the girlfriend's boyfriend.
Yeah.
Or the daughter's boyfriend, because then the daughter hates you for the rest of your life.
Yeah. And if you're going to use a boomstick, you need to make sure you have a flashlight on that.
Yes.
On that boomstick as well.
Safety first. Reasons. And I think that kind of wraps us up for the night. I think we've covered as much as we can in one episode about, home defense, self-defense, really just being safety centric and security centric around those whom you love. Guys, if you haven't done the simplest of things, which is increasing the security of your doors and windows, go do that. It's affordable. It's easy. You can do it in the apartments that you rent. You can do it anywhere you live. Enhance the security of your doors, first and foremost. Number 2, increase your situational awareness. Make sure you're checking things. You're looking back. You're turning around occasionally. If you're walking somewhere dark, make sure you have extra lighting on hand. People won't approach you if you're shining lights everywhere. They're going to think you're either security or dangerous, and they'll stay away from you. So just take those things into consideration at the very least, and start living a more alert life. Thank you for tuning in again this week. We've had fun doing another live. Thank you everyone for participating in the live, such as Jelly 6 talking about a baseball bat. Also, if you're ever going to have a baseball bat in your car, make sure you have a ball and a glove, because you're on your way to a game or from a game when you had to use it.
And not just the baseball bat.
And not just the baseball bat.
Or a single golf club, right?
Right. Have the whole everything. And if you've got shoes to go with it, put them in there. But this has been another episode of Prepper Talk Radio, brought to you by jasemedical.com and and I'm like all over the place all of a sudden. jasemedical.com and the readysummit.com. Use Prepper Talk as your code to get discounts at both. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for your participation. Thanks for tuning in on all the channels. We've got some people everywhere listening in and watching at this moment. So appreciate you. We'll catch you again next week. Make sure you tune into our podcast because 2 of those drop every week. It's on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And last but not least, if you haven't already joined our group, go join our group on Facebook. Find us at Prepper Talk Radio. Click the button because there's a link to our group on our page. So we'd love to have you in there. Any final words from you guys?
I think I've said more than enough.
Shane's
be safe.
Yeah, be safe. Be safe, be smart, stay alert, keep prepping.
See you next
Have
week.
a good night, everybody.
See ya.